Okay, we're going to go through some duty of care now. What I want to concentrate on first is the flue probe, because 9 out of 10 times, if your readings are questionable, it's normally something to do with the flue probe, either a wet filter or a blockage, or indeed it might be as simple as the case pipe's slightly open and it's letting in oxygen, which is depleting your readings. So if we concentrate on the flue probe first, firstly, if you get your probe and you put your finger over this end, block it up, and then blow down the metal work, encapsulating the end, obviously. What should happen is, if you can't blow down it, that shows the integrity of the line is okay and you've got no leaks anywhere along the way. If you repeat that test, but this time leave the open end and put it to your ear, blow down it, what that's showing you've got a clear line, you've got no blockages, and you can't hear any gurgling, so it means there's no moisture in the line. And then if it passes both those tests, then it's a good idea, that the flue probe is working okay. If you did have water in, this is a split chamber filter bowl. So what you've got on the bottom is for capturing the moisture, and on the top is for capturing the particulates. And what you've got is inside there, you've got them two compartments separated by a middle disc. Okay, now that middle disc can be removed. If you use a clamp probe, it's quite handy because it helps you to remove it if you've got no nails like me, and also it captures the O-ring so you can't lose the O-ring. Now obviously what you do is, when you open that up, if there was moisture in it, any moisture, any condensate at all, it needs to come out, and you just dry it out. So you get a dry cloth, obviously go inside there, and it allows you, once you remove the middle disc, it allows you plenty of room to take all the moisture out. And then if you look closely at that, you'll see that it's got a spigot pointing up, and inside there in the middle you can also see there's one looking very similar to that, and that's how I remember which way round they go. So you pop that middle disc back on, your O-ring goes on the top of that, and then your filter, if you look into this compartment here, your filter locates on the spigots internally there. So you push that onto there, make sure it's home and centralised. Make sure your two locating lugs are there, not broken or snapped or compromised in any way. And then you pop that back onto the locating lugs and twist it right up till it's tight. And then obviously what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to repeat the test I did earlier. So I'm going to hold the finger on that. Nothing that's letting by, so we know the readings aren't going to be depleted. And I've got a nice clear run. So now the flue probe is ready to go. If you do need new filters, obviously they're available through most of your local tray counters, and obviously if you're missing an O-ring, or indeed unfortunately you've dropped this, because what happens is sometimes when you take this out of the bag, people let it drop to the floor and it can send a crack in it, and that would cause you an issue. So all of these parts will be available from your local plumbers merchants. We have a duty of care document that is also on our website, which does show you exactly how the filter bowl goes together, if that's going to be helpful to you. Or indeed you can obviously ring the technical line and we'll happily support you on the phone if need be. Okay, we've done the flue probe. Now we're going to concentrate on the analyser itself, doing a couple of checks on the analyser. So if normally you turn the analyser on, obviously with your flue probe connected, and your flue probe would be, you'd be outside, standing with your instrument and your flue probe, or you'd at least be hanging your flue probe out the window. But I'm just going to do instrument only at the moment, just to show you some checks. So we turn the instrument on. This is a Sprint eVo. So when you see it first comes up, you'll see on the screen it's starting up. And then that gets us through to the test menu. Now, if I pick flue gas analysis, and I'll press the top middle button to go into that, it's saying auto 0. So now it's asking me to confirm I'm in clean air. As I said, that would normally be outside or out, or you'd be hanging the flue probe outside a window. So I'm going to press to confirm that I'm in clean air. If you've got a V range, it's slightly different. You have to wait for the flat line before you press the middle button. But the eVo is automatic. You just press the button and it will find its own 0 point. So now you'll see it stabilising, and your purge symbol is on the screen. and then in a few seconds the stabilising will turn to zeroing, like so, and now it lets me into flue gas 1. If there's a number up there, it means that you've got more than one page. So we've got CO, CO2 ratio. If I press this bottom middle button twice, it's going to get me to flue gas 3. And the reason I'm taking us there is because it gives us all the readings in one place. So you've got an oxygen reading, you've got a CO reading, although albeit 0, and the rest of them are hashed because obviously there's no reading in here at the moment for it to calculate. So what I want you to do is, if you concentrate on the oxygen on the top line there, if I blow into the middle spigot now, and when I turn it around, I'd like you to look at the O2 reading on the top line there. And you'll see your O2 reading drops that time to about 18%, but you'll see that it recovers quite quickly. Now that tells me that the sample's been taken from the pump through over the manifold to the sensors, and they're reacting in a timely fashion, and they're recovering as well, which tells you there's no blockages, the pump's strong, and you've got no moisture on the internal tubes. Now if I do this again, this time I would like you to concentrate on the third and the fourth line down, the CO2 and the ratio. So if I blow that on that again, and we quickly look at those lines, you'll see the CO2 just cuts in, just enough that it calculates and shows you a CO2 reading, your ratio periodically cuts in as well. That just tells you that your oxygen is calculating your CO2, and again it's all returned back to 20.9 in a timely fashion, which means it's very responsive, and it doesn't look like we've got too many problems with this analyzer. Now the other thing you can do is if you block up the middle spigot underneath, completely block it, what happens is it comes up with plump box. Now that's obviously put in place to protect from the flue probe sucking up moisture into your analyzer, or if you've got a block filter, it also identifies that for you. And it's to protect the analyzer. But what we're actually using it for on this particular test is to make sure there's no internal tube leaks, or that the pump's got any blockages or debris in it. And because we've come up pump blocked, if I press escape now and the pump comes straight back on, then we know, which it does, now we know that there's no problem with the pump and there's no problem with the internal tubes. So combined with the flue probe checks, that shows us that the overall integrity of both the flue probe and the instrument itself all looks fine and good to go. Now we can't, unfortunately, there's no easy way of doing this, testing the CO like this. The only way you're going to be able to check the CO is actually on an appliance, but this is a good indication that everything is working okay and that your pump's all right and you don't have any internal tube issues. Thank you.